This is the Environmental Protection Commission special meeting, Monday, November 3, 2025. New business, EPC 24-2025, PL 25-165, 81 Lee Warden Road, J. Hudson and E. Hudson, to construct a pool fence in and approximate to wetlands and watercourses. The property line lies along the east side of Lee Warden Road, approximately 800 feet north of Cary Lane, and is identified as map number 8, lot number 8. Its zone is R1, and it is approximately 1.27 acres.
Mr. Chairman, this application has made its way to the agenda this evening. To start the process, to initiate the review process, start the statutory time clock, and solicit your comments and make a determination as to the necessity of a public hearing. For those of you that have been on board for at least a couple of years, this property had been the subject of a prior EPC permit application for the development of a new single-family dwelling pool house. The applicant had successfully constructed the house and all its attendant facilities. They have in process they built the pool, and they're in the process of building the pool house. The applicant is back before the EPC for the placement of a pool fence now. Staff has been to the site and will be generating a list of information it deems necessary to move forward with their application, and certainly I welcome all your comments as well.
Yeah, I just looked at it briefly. Did we okay the lawn line where it is back when we did that? Because it's right on the edge of the wetlands, and I was just curious if that's something we okayed back during that application.
Yes, it was. It's not up to the edge of wetland. There's a planted buffer strip that they installed.
Okay. And it was installed?
Yes,
Okay.
and certified, and we went and checked it. They made some substitutions in the plant material, but it was acceptable.
I don't have anything to add, thank you.
Carolyn?
I was just, would like, their project narrative indicated that this was for enhanced pool safety, but this is really more like a perimeter fence. And I see that it does actually go into the wetlands. So I would like them to consider some alternatives. And also, I think it's in the northwest corner actually goes into the wetlands. And they also didn't offer any kind of, like planting plan or, I mean, I know it sounds like when the original application was approved that they had to do a buffer planning. I mean, I think this precedes my being on this commission, so I don't remember this application, but I would like to know, what that was and, if there's anything else they can do at this point. But I would like them to consider some alternatives for the pool, the fence.
That's a good point that you just made. Is there did the original application disclose that there was an auto cover on the pool? So if
I think they say in the project narrative there is, but because there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, they would feel, I mean, if I were putting in a pool, I would want a fence around it too, but the fence is not around the pool, it's around the perimeter of the property.
What type of fence is it, Rick?
Well, let's get back to the auto cover. I believe they came in with a plan with an auto cover. They have since decided that, and I think the state is going back to requiring fences. It's a possibility that they will be.
I think that's a good idea.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I would want
So this is a
fence.
response to making sure as they're doing the remaining construction that there is protection. Now the fence does not go around the entire perimeter, if you noticed, because it goes back very deep.
We'll have to cross the wetlands.
But in this one, there is a corner where that does cross
Yeah.
the wetlands, and alternatives is certainly a requirement.
Yeah, before Trevor goes, I'd like to support your concept of, we've had a lot of applications where fences and wetlands, etc. We don't look at those favorably in the past. We have not looked at that favorably. There may be special circumstances, etc., that justify something going in the wetlands, but typically, as a policy, EPC does not look at fences in wetlands because that does create long-term significant damage. So I would hope that they would come up with a reasonable and prudent alternative to this. Okay, Trevor?
The only question I had when looking at it is, you can make the areas smaller. Can they be within regulations of proximity of the fence to the pool without being in the wetland? Is that a possibility?
We put the fence just about anywhere.
Well, no, don't you have to have a certain amount of square footage, or a certain amount of square feet, the fence has to be away from the pool?
No.
No, the fence can be
Right up
very,
tight, yeah.
can be,
Okay.
we've seen fences within 4 feet of the pool edge.
Okay,
So,
then outside of that, I don't have any
no.
questions.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay. Moving on to the next item of business, the CPC 2025 PL 25-168, 52 Blueberry Lane, S. Stack and S. Weyerstein, Venezia, to maintain a stone fireplace, walls, and patio construct within close proximity to the wetlands, watercourses, and special flood hazard areas. The property lies along the east side of Blueberry Lane, approximately 775 feet south of Ox Ridge Lane, and is identified as map number 7, lot number 41. The zone is R2 and is approximately 1.86 acres.
Mr. Chairman, the application has made its way to the agenda for acceptance, starting the statutory time clock, and soliciting your preliminary comments on the application itself, also to decide if a public hearing is necessary. For those that have been on the board in the last year or two, this application had been before us before, and the agency had suggested submission of certain correspondence and not only correspondence but plans and mitigation proposals. They ran out of time as they were generating the information. They do have an engineer on board. They have now have hit the highlights in terms of the engineering proposal, but we'll be going through the submitted materials to make sure that everything that you had requested has been positively submitted.
Yeah, a couple of questions on that. Is everything in compliance there? The plan was kind of confusing, that there was proposed patio, a done patio, but the whole thing was built when I walked over there. So I was concerned, was this something that...
Is this an after the fact?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, so
it is.
there were portions of a patio that were there.
Yeah.
So we dragged them in when they had built an expanded patio and that fireplace that,
Yep.
yep. So this is an after the fact permit. So there's the river way in the back.
Yep.
And the brook in the way in the back, and the bulk of the wetlands. There's a couple of spots of wetland that are in the front of the property that are reflected on the subdivision plan. And they had them reflagged, and they're generally in the same location that we're on the subdivision.
Okay.
So, yes, it's an after the fact.
I guess what I would ask is, when we're looking at plans like that, if you like, it's very confusing, is it built, and maybe you should say it's built and then have some note on it. They also need 100 feet off of that stream, don't they?
Yep.
That wasn't marked on the plan.
Yeah.
And they do have a very extensive deer fence going through the whole place, and I don't see that on the plan either, and I don't know if we approve that as well.
So we gotta take a look at the deer fence, right? Michael?
Was that a condition to approval, or is that a continue the application for another meeting?
This?
Yeah.
It's a new application.
It's a new application. We're just accepting the application now.
They have
Oh,
to, they have to
okay.
withdraw.
Alright,
So
prior
there's no
application.
resolution coming from this.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to be clear, okay. all right.
We're directing him to accept the application, and then he's gonna go out and.
No, I follow, I just
come
wasn't
up with
sure
his
if I
list
was
of-
missing something and clarifying. No, I agree, I concur with Bill.
Carol?
Oh, yeah, same thing, they don't have the 100 feet from the Stony Brook delineated on the map. And again, I just want to reiterate what Bill said, which is the project narrative was a bit confusing. I think, they could, make it a little bit clearer what they're actually asking for. There's also some notes that there's some invasives, burning bush that will be removed and some pachysandra will be replaced. I just want to make sure that they do the usual with, no chemical means, that it's done by hand. And I think one of the, in the application file, it indicated that there were some photographs, and there were none. When you clicked
Yes.
on it, it was just another picture of the, like the site plan. So I just think they could do a little bit to clean up the application, make it clearer. And I had the question about the perimeter fence as well. That's all I have.
Joe?
I don't have any questions on this one.
One follow-up. Rick, does it make sense to just have, just to keep it simple, is I don't know whether it's chronological, but this is the work that was already completed and we're asking forgiveness on, and this is the additional work that we're looking, the proposed work? Whoever if it's the engineer or project manager or whomever, just have a bibliography of operations so we can understand what we should be approving or
Okay.
taking a closer look at.
Okay.
We
does that
doing?
make sense?
Oh, yeah. It's almost like we'd like to know ahead of time what we're trying to forgive, without saying that word maybe. Get it right out front. This was done, didn't have a permit. Most of the time we do hear that, but this one, we don't want them to slide in and make us work a little harder than we have to in some ways, I think. My impression.
Well, I mean, yeah, to your point is it's static, it's agnostic, it's what happened before application submission.
And one other thing, Rick, the increase in impervious surface is over 600 square feet. And the new stormwater manual, drainage manual, hasn't that been reduced to 400 square feet?
Well, before you're doing a full drainage report anyway, the trigger is 400 square feet for a full drainage report. So
Okay.
that's what they're submitting.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe they were grandfathered in because this application had, so that was my question.
Anybody else have anything on this one? Okay, moving on, EPC 26-2025, PL 25-174, 410 Hollow Tree Ridge Road, Woodburn Country Club, Inc., to maintain it and dredge a pond. The proposed activities affect the wetlands, the watercourses, floodplain, and upland review areas. Access to the property lies on the west side of Hollow Tree Ridge Road, just west of Hanson Road, and is then identified as map number 7, lot number 66. The zone is R2 and is approximately 210.56 acres.
Mr. Chairman, the application has made its way to the agenda to solicit your comments, initiate the process, and to make a determination as to the necessity of a public hearing on the matter. The application is to maintenance dredge one of the ponds that are in the golf course. They will be conducted by, some of you are familiar with the suction dredger that had done some work over on Peach Hill, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And so they're developing a proposal to dredge this over in non-golf season in order to enhance the pond, remove some pretty significant accumulations of sediment that's in it.
Sure. Got a comment in there. This is great. This is one of those things we want to be done, especially in this area. It's a huge watershed area for Stony Brook. We're always trying to figure out how we can prevent flooding on the rest of below Weburn. So the idea they go in there and do that, I would ask them to take out more and see if they even want to get involved with in the future, they plan to kind of help regulate that when we know a tropical storm is coming in.
They do that, by the way. I asked them.
Okay.
I asked them,
But that pond itself doesn't have a way to do that unless because they don't have pumps in that one.
Yeah, but they have in the one that's downstream from there.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad they could do that. The topographical map they put in there doesn't show the right area, so you might want to change that one. And if we really were asking them, since they're now involved with coming to us, because there's been some past where Wheatburn didn't, maybe they could put a little more of that golf rough area along the western side where the grass goes straight into that pond. I know we're asking a lot, but it would be a nice little gesture. The rest of the 2/3 of that pond is totally burned with natural vegetation, but there's that one section that would help the sheet flow of fertilizer from going in there. Small piece, if you look at that golf course, it's everywhere, but that's the way they are. But let's maybe ask for a small. Okay.
I have no comments.
So I just want to reiterate Bill's comments. Again, I think it's a good thing, to increase its capacity to hold water, and I had a similar ask if they could. I only did like a drive-by. I was looking at it from the outside of the fence, so I couldn't get up close, but I did notice that there was vegetation around a good bit of the pond. But if they don't, put more in, it's just gonna happen again. It's gonna fill in again, and maybe, I couldn't tell what is coming upstream, what's upstream from that, if what brook that is going into there, but maybe they could put some kind of vegetation around what is leading into it, just to kind of slow, and also to filter out some of the nutrients and fertilizers and pesticides that they might be putting on the greens. And the only other thing I had a question about is they mentioned that when the material dries, it's going to reduce by 50%, and then they're going to use it as fill around the golf course. Does it have to be tested? And again,
Yes.
because there's going to be chemicals in it. I don't know what their plans are for where they're planning to use it, but I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, the question of testing is a good one. Trevor?
I don't have any questions on this one.
Yeah, I was just for, the EPC policies are typically that we encourage dredging of ponds, ponds and streams or whatever, and that this is a good thing. And they're, from looks of it, they're using New England Aquatics, which is a very professional outfit that we've dealt with before. And they're doing it in the least, holding the stuff on site, etc. Testing has to be done before they start spreading it around.
Right.
And I would encourage Weburn, wherever they wanted to go dredge, to go dredge, and I hope they find, and if Rusty Schreiner's listening, they'll find a lot of his golf balls.
Oh yeah, I bet somebody could pull out a decent amount of balls out of it.
Yeah.
Oof. You're not kidding. Moving on, EPC 27-2025, PL 25-175, 49 Birch Road, E. Romer, to maintenance dredge a pond. The proposed activities affect the wetlands, watercourses, and upland review areas. The property lies along the west side of Birch Road, approximately 500 feet north of Point of Woods Road, and is identified as map number 11, lot number 11. The zone is R1, and is approximately 1.02 acres.
Mr. Chairman, this application has made its way to the agenda for acceptance, for determination as to the necessity of a public hearing, and to solicit your initial comments. For those that have been on board since 2020, this has been a prior application here for a pool in the pool house and other related features on the site. I can remind you that those features still, I believe, have not secured a final approval yet. There's still some outstanding issues that's associated with them, at least from our perspective. There had been some neighborhood interest on what had gone on there and on some of the activities that had been conducted there. So with that, I ask you to consider all those things. Start the statutory, the duration of our review period and determination as to the necessity of a public hearing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know they hadn't completed everything. I do remember the last time there were some neighbors definitely interested. And I love the dredging part of it, but I think in the public interest, because of the past situations, that we ought to have a public hearing on it. Maybe the neighbors will be very excited to know it's being dredged, and that part will be very good for the public side, or maybe they have other issues that we don't know about.
I just closed the file. Do you know how many cubic yards of fill is proposed to be removed for Weburn?
Oh, it's a lot, I can tell you.
I don't know.
It's going to be 2,000 cubic yards after it's dried, so 4,000.
Cubic yards.
Yeah.
In this application, isn't this pond larger than the pond at Weburn?
No,
It's tiny.
not even close.
No.
Not even.
I'm not thinking, then I don't recognize where it is on the golf course. Okay, because this one is 337 cubic yards, which is still a lot of fill.
Yeah. It's a lot.
You know the 14th hole? You ever play Weaver? Did you ever play Weaver?
I have, but I don't remember where the 14th hole is.
The 14th hole shoots up and slants down, and so they have a huge rough along this side, and then there's the pond. And that's one side of the pond, and so they have. It's. I mean, there's absolutely no comparison between the size of the pond at 49 Birch and the one at Weaver.
So on this application, I would say the commission would really want to understand what the operations are to dredge this pond, because the residence itself is so close to the property lines. And I'm pretty sure that the homeowner there isn't really, I'm looking at a compass orientation, the north, yeah. That the excavator isn't going to be crossing over the driveway, over the pump galley. They're probably going to go to the south, which is only 17, between the property line and the house is 17 feet.
This is a suction dredge as well?
Yeah.
So there will be no excavator?
It's a suction dredge, so yeah.
So it's going to be the
Well,
So they're not going to go.
So they're just going to pump right into a dump truck.
No, they put it into, typically,
Those
is they put it
bags.
into a bag, a dewatering bag, and it accumulates within there. It dewaters, and then they leave it there for 6 or 8 weeks to fully dewater. It compresses, then they come back, slice open the bag, and remove the material.
Right, okay, so then my question is where are they going to stockpile all that material?
That's an operations question, like you requested.
That's what I was getting at.
That's a good point. We should, with Weaver, we know they have lots of space and stuff to be able to store it. In this case, I'm sure is this New England Products also?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure they have lots of history of this. Somebody can come and tell us what he's going to do.
Yep.
What the proposal is.
I had a question on the zoning location survey. It shows the pool in a different location than what's on the site. Basically the site plan for dredging the pond. So I just had a question whether the pool was actually built where it was approved and whether this had come before this commission. And We talked about the number of cubic yards. Yeah, because they do reference an EPC permit and the notes on it. I also noticed, and again, this relates to, the interest in having a public hearing. There are fences going across the watercourse. I counted 3. So, that's something that we, I think, need to discuss because.
Well, we don't need to discuss it. There's a part of our list of information and activity that needs to be addressed in order to close out the prior permit was to take down the fence that crosses the watercourse.
Okay, and that's,
Or they have to apply for a permit to maintain it.
right.
So that was all outlined in our
Because they have the nice
correspondence.
arched bridge, that stone bridge that goes over the watercourse, but then they've got this other bridge that's flush with the ground, and then they've got all these different, 3, I
The
think.
flush crossing was part of the original application where they gained access with an excavator to dig the pool and construct the pool house, or what had been
That was a
a
temporary
crossing there
bridge.
before.
It was supposed to be removed?
No,
Oh.
it was allowed to remain, and there were certain improvements that had to be done, but I still have a list of information and activity that needs to be, closed out before they really move forward with this.
Well, now, the question is that a question for EPC? Because we've already ruled on that, and it's a question of staff, the applicant implementing what they wanted with all the conditions that EPC applied. And that's just, isn't that more your role and to go out there and go, hey, yes, you're putting your pool, but you have to do A, B, and C in order to get
Yes, we've already
approval?
done that, and they have not complied.
So why would we give them another chance at a new permit?
So I think what you do, if you
Until they get that done.
accept this, I think that'd be one of the things, is
Yeah.
demonstrate that you brought the other elements into
Get
compliance.
the other one fixed first before we
Right.
grant you anything else.
I mean, I think you can not accept it, however, they have to bring the entire site into compliance with the prior permit.
Do
Right.
they have a CO on the?
I don't believe so. They at least don't have our endorsement. We have a letter outlining the stuff that remaining outstanding.
Do they have a temporary CO?
I don't believe so.
So what if you don't accept this? We say, we don't want to accept this now, you haven't done the other one. Is there a legal
Yeah.
problem with it?
I think there might be, saying that if somebody submits an
I'll let you
application.
wrangle that one.
Well,
What I would say
Oh,
is,
let's accept them. No,
Okay,
my
accept
my opinion is, let's accept it, and then when the applicant comes here, you go, gee, you haven't done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then so that would lead us to believe that, when was that application?
2020, I think.
20, so it's 5 years in?
Yeah.
It makes your point stronger, that says, hey, in 5 years, if you haven't done this, okay, what makes us think that you're gonna do this? So there's a,
what's the reason for dredging the pond? Is it because
it's very shallow.
Yeah,
it's
it's shallow.
Aesthetics?
shallow and
Probably
smelly and
aesthetics.
mosquito-y?
Well,
Like
All ponds are mosquito.
Well, no,
Unless.
like what's the,
I mean, it's
what's
a-
the reason for the
It's
request?
very shallow. It's just an expansion of the brook as it goes
Right.
through the property.
It probably backs up too because they have the fences there. So, I mean, if it were dredged and deeper, it wouldn't.
Well,
So
at least
probably
in the
back up
short
as
term, it'll
much.
fill,
Yeah.
and it'll maintain the equilibrium as it goes through.
So-
However,
This is kind of a catch-22, right? We want that dredging,
Right.
but they're not behaving correctly
Oh,
in the
no.
past one.
We typically like dredging to be done.
Right.
They're applying to dredge.
Right.
Okay, so it's their request it's their desire to dredge, okay? But it's our desire that they complete the rest of the project, that they complete the
so one of the
conditions of the rest of the project. So-
requested items of information is demonstrate that you're bringing the site that you brought the site into compliance with the terms of the project.
That's right.
Terms, conditions, and plans
No.
of the permit,
So to,
prior permit.
I think the two are mutually exclusive. This is my question, is the fence something that was supposed to be, was that a condition for approval where the fence was to be removed from the wetland?
No.
Where the fence was
There
constructed?
That was constructed after the fact.
Okay, so that's technically,
Oh.
just trying to draw, like, be
It's a
direct here.
violation.
That's a violation, right?
It's an inconsistency with the prior permit, yes.
It's a
That's a
violation.
violation.
Okay. The fact that they haven't followed through on the condition of the application, that's not necessarily a violation, right? That's just unfinished work.
It's unfinished work, but they needed to get the CO, and they need to,
Can you get a violation for not completing your work to get a CO?
yes, if they don't complete the amenities that they're proposing, or the drainage that they're proposing, or
I mean,
some of the other
technically,
things, like the relocation of certain recreational equipment and things that were there.
but is that technically, right, okay, so there's so this is what I'm getting at, fence, recreational equipment, things that were saying, hey, if you give me a permit, I will remove these items. They haven't removed those items, or they installed amenities that weren't approved, that's a violation. If they haven't finished work to earn a CO, that in itself is a penalty because they don't have a CO on title. So I'm not really concerned about that, but I would say, as it appears right now, is maybe the commission looks at, and we had the same conversation for the gentleman that was before this was before you were on the board. We had a gentleman that came to the board and said, I would like to have more lawn in a wetland or in a woodland area. And he was in the woodland area, and we declined that. However, we said that he could clean up lawn area in the upland review area. Okay, he did that, signed off, clean operation. He then decided that he was gonna sell his home, and he went and he clear cut trees in the woodland area and did work on an abutting neighbor's property or just on the property line. And having just been at EPC, he knew he was in violation of the process and the procedure. So what we did, because Rick and I were involved in this, is we issued him a violation, right? Right, Eric, we talked
Yes.
about this. We issued him a violation. So to just follow quid pro quo on other applicants that are cognizant of their responsibilities, I would just say, okay, if you want to dredge your pond, that's fine. Here's your, we'll come talk to you about your approval for that. But now that we're being brought back, you're coming back to our attention that there's outstanding issues and there's a violation, then we should issue a violation. So now they have an unfinished CO and they have a violation, and they need to cure those two items, and they can go about their business doing their pond dredging. Because I don't think legally, we have to accept that application, we have to approve it.
Couldn't we get ourselves in a little bit of a hairy mess though, if we don't accept this and that dredged area or proposed dredge area were to overflow and somehow create damage to the property?
Oh, what I'm saying is to, well, no, we have to take the application, either approve it or deny it. I'm in favor of approving the dredging
Yeah,
of the pond.
I'm saying like we make it,
Yeah, we have to
we can
accept the
hold their
application.
feet to the fire
Yeah.
now that they're back in front of us, but if we try to hold up the dredging, the proposed dredging, I think we would.
No, that we condition this for public hearing
Yeah.
because there's interest, so they come submit the application,
Yeah.
hear them out on that application, but now because they came back to the table, and now that they have a fence that they erected in the wetland, that's a violation, so they're getting a violation for that, potentially a violation for that, and a violation, if that's applicable, I don't know whether it is or not, but for unfinished conditional work, for them to have, to do their work in the first place. So you have unfinished work. I would say the penalty for that, the carrot to get them, not a penalty, but the carrot for them to finish that work is you get a CO and you're done, right? I mean, not having a CO, that's kind of crazy, 5 years and no CO.
I believe they don't have a CO, they don't have our endorsement for a CO.
I don't understand what the difference is for an endorsement for a CO and a CO. Isn't
We
it
don't
just-
issue a CO,
I'm sorry?
we don't issue a CO, the building department
Planning and
issues a CO.
zoning. Well, Jeremy signs up.
Somebody in zoning signs off as a precursor to the issuance of a CO.
I'm just saying in general, the fact, I don't, yeah. At the end of the day, you just need a CO. It comes from, building takes their look at it, says, yeah, Jeremy, we're all ticked and tied on building permits, and then Jeremy is the last person, planning and zoning is the last entity to sign off on the CO. Full stop. So if they don't have.
No, there should be a CO, there should be a zoning approval before a CO is issued.
Well, right, yes, right. They don't have that.
I believe they do not have it. But there's still outstanding issues relative to the EPC. You can do it either way. You can issue an order to them, or this is the mechanism now, is they're coming in for something else. Accept the application, and one of the conditions is, show us that you've complied with the other thing. You get an updated status, and it's also soliciting the neighbors' input and concerns for them, the work that was or was not done.
And, to add one more piece, RTM last week voted to now, the zoning officer can now fine $150 a day for every violation. So, not a huge amount of money, but before we had no violation accountability for a fine. And that was approved last week. So that is now available. It gets their attention, and we're not gonna rack up thousands of dollars, but maybe they'll start thinking about maybe doing what they're supposed to do.
One other thing, I mentioned this earlier, but I just want to emphasize this. Is there a reason why the pool wasn't constructed in the location in which it was approved by, this department in 2021? It shows the pool partially out in the upland review area and partially out of the upland review area, but where the pool was actually built is partially in the wetlands themselves. So I'm just wondering why the pool wasn't built where.
I don't think it was built in the wetland.
That's what it says on.
The limit of wetlands,
Yeah, if you look at,
the dotted line that goes through the pool at a 45-degree angle.
yes,
Maybe it's that one you were on.
the dredging site plan.
This might be this might be the wetland, and this might be the upland review.
See how it says limit of wetlands and it goes right through the pool?
Nice noting.
See?
It's on there.
I'll have to look into that further. I don't think that's accurate. But I agree.
Okay, I mean, I'm
But
only
it does say it.
bringing up what's on these
Well,
documents.
it's their information. So,
It says it right
All right.
there. You're right.
that has to be clarified. Okay, Rick? So we can, we'll clarify as to what that line is then. Okay, anybody else have anything else for this? Okay. We need a vote as to public hearing, which is in the public interest. Okay, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, it's for the public interest. I make a motion to hold a public hearing for 49 Birch Road to maintenance dredge the pond for purposes of the public interest.
Second the motion for EPC number 27-2025, 49 Birch Road.
All in favor? Okay. Moving on, EPC 28-2025, PL 25-176, 64 Andrews Drive, T. Anastasio, to construct a sanitary sewer force main in and approximately to wetlands and watercourses. The sanitary line is associated with a new project to construct an in-ground pool, pool house, and other related features. The property lies along the east side of Andrews Drive, just north of the Red Coat Pass, and is identified as map number 64. The lot is 113, and the zone is R1. It is approximately 1.75 acres.
Mr. Chairman, the application has made its way to the agenda this evening to start our statutory time clock, solicit comments, and determine if a public hearing is necessary. This applicant also has been before the EPC on at least 2 occasions for different things, ranging from fences to deck expansions, and have successfully completed their permit applications previously. I think also involved propane tanks. The applicant now proposes to do a pool in a pool house on the behind the house. If you've been to the site, it's up a very dramatic hillside with the wetlands down on the lower sides. And there'll be issues having to do with drainage and access, and they are abandoning their septic system where to put the pool, but as a result, they are running a sanitary pump line down along the edge of the drive. Has to cross either wetlands or within close proximity to wetlands in order to gain access to the sanitary main in the street. So it's a force main that they're.
Okay, so they're connecting to so their septic field today gonna connect up?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember this one came before us. I didn't
Yep.
realize it had a septic field, but
Yeah.
it's amazing up in that
Yeah.
ledge-filled area.
Mm.
So this is absolutely a great thing, get that out of there. But so other than that, I did not review that.
Mhm.
This one.
I apologize, are there open items? I don't understand, are there open items?
No,
on
no
this?
open items.
Okay. I don't have any questions or comments, thank you.
Just to clarify again, that it sounded like the force main was being added because of the pool house, but it's really the entire residence that's, okay, good, yeah, no, that is good. The stormwater management checklist is included, but the operations maintenance plan just needs to be strengthened a little bit. And you had made some comments to the engineer, and they weren't included in this. I was just wondering if the responses satisfactorily responded to your concerns, and the same with Joe Canis's comments.
That's what they're working on.
That's what they're
They've had one set of
Okay.
plans that they started with Joe already for the peer review.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some preliminary comments too, just as they were introducing this application to us without, actually their formal submittal. So that's what we'll be working on. Major components are drainage impact, water quality, access,
Mm-hmm.
any mitigation
Because
that's being proposed.
it's a long
It's a long
stretch.
Yeah.
And is there any I have not visited the site, I did drive by, but I did not go up there. Is there any opportunity for adding a wetland buffer along the wetlands area there, or are there any invasives that need to be addressed?
Go back and look, but the wetlands at the base of that hill.
Okay,
The work is up at the top.
but it comes
With a
all the way
pole.
down the side of the driveway,
Right down.
And then
along the side.
crosses.
Right, so it's only the force main, it's not the bulk of it.
Oh,
The
right,
bulk of
right,
work is outside our-
okay,
So
the
we
bulk of
certainly
it.
can look at that.
Is outside our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But we can still. look
So
at those things.
it's the main they need, and, and I agree with Bill that we need to do that.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Clean out this.
I agree, yeah. That's all I had.
I don't have any comments on this one.
Okay, good. EPC 29-2025 PL 25-177, 30 Plymouth Road, S. Simon and Simon, to construct a new 2-story, 2-car garage, drive, in-ground pool, patio, pergola drainage, and other related features in a special flood hazard area and proximate to wetlands and watercourses. Property lies along the west side of Plymouth Road, approximately 380 feet north of Shipway Road, and is identified as map number 57, lot number 35. The zone is R1, and this is approximately 1.291 acres.
Mr. Chairman, this next application again makes its way to the agenda for acceptance and starting the statutory time clock. Solicit your comments and determine as to the necessity of a public hearing. This application is very much like, although it's a distinct property, we had done some pretty extensive reviews at 32 Plymouth where they were doing a pool and a pool house and other amenities on the site. Very similar circumstance here. It's a garage expansion on the existing dwelling. There's wetlands, watercourses, floodplain, and so we have to delve into some a pretty extensive list of information and activity that has to be addressed as part of the review. So we'll initiate the process, and if you have any preliminary comments, we'd certainly incorporate those into our request for information.
Yeah, they're jamming a lot of impervious structures and others into our 50-foot zone. So it's bothers me a bit. And it's also because of the flooding in that area, when that area floods, it goes in a lot of different directions, and I think the neighbors need to get an understanding of this, if they care to, about how this may or may not impact that flooding when it occurs there. I am recommending that it would be for a public hearing.
I concur with Bill, and I have no comments, thank you.
Joe?
I was wondering if we could just get clarification on the property size, because in the narrative and the drainage summary, it references, it's a difference of 1/3 of an acre versus what's in the wetland, the soil scientist report. Also, the how much linear Coltech is going to be west of the pool. In the narrative, it says 70, in the drainage summary, it says 60. So I was just wondering if we could get those two little pieces of information clarified. The operations and maintenance plan is really good. I'm happy to say, because oftentimes it's not. And I just, so the garage, there is an existing, what looks like 2-car garage. They are not taking that down and putting this up. They are actually adding this to the end of the structure, and then I assume converting the existing garage into, and they're doing some remodeling in there, I would imagine. Is that correct?
I haven't gotten into this that much,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think that's the case, and I know they're doing second story storage above the garage.
Above the garage, right. And I agree with Bill that my first impression was that, yeah, this is a lot, there's a lot going on in the upland review area, and I was wondering how close is that asphalt drive to the actual wetlands. I know that they are doing some good things, some very good things. They are actually, the net result will be that less runoff is going into the wetlands than currently is, because they're taking a portion of not only that new structure garage that they're adding, but a part of the existing structure and putting it into the, going under the driveway in that reservoir there. And they are putting in a nice buffer with a boulder demarcation. But it is a lot going on in the upland review area. So I would support holding a public hearing for the public interest as well.
Yeah, I agree with everybody, given how tight these lots are, and they're proposing a significant amount of impervious space that, the water has to go somewhere. I think it's important to do that as well, so I agree.
This application reminds me of, you guys have to help me out with the address, but you and I were focusing on, they were putting a second story over the existing garage. And there was stormwater
Bishop's Gate.
drainage. What?
Bishop's Gate.
Yes. And we focus, similar, if you look at the proposed engineer plan, the driveway court encroach, to your point, is that driveway court does encroach into the wetland. And on
Or really close to it,
in
yeah.
the Bishop Gate, we regulated the driveway and the use of the area abutting the wetland to the right of the garage, so the lawn area or the wetland area to the right of the driveway and to the right of the garage couldn't be used for vehicular traffic or storing of stuff.
Right.
So Rick, I'm looking at this application and I'm saying, okay, well, I understand what they're doing here. I don't understand where the garage doors are going to be, whether they're the frontage of the home or on the side. From the elevation, this is the front looking south. So I think what they're proposing is it's a hammerhead where you don't see the garage doors from the street.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
maybe
Absolutely.
this application, just some prudent and very feasible alternative is that the garage doors face the street. So that would be.
And with less encroachment into the wetland.
Correct.
Yep. All right, can I have a motion to have a public hearing due to public interest?
Yes, for application EPC 29, 2025, 30 Plymouth Road, I make a motion to hold a public hearing to construct a new 2-story, 2-car garage, drive, in-ground pool, patio, pergola, drainage and other related features in a special flood hazard area and proximate to wetlands and watercourses for the purposes that it's in the public interest.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Moving on, old business, EPC 12-2025, PL 25-7249 Salisbury Road, Glowcon Studios LLC to replace a septic tank, install air handlers, renovate lawn areas, remove vegetation, conduct other related activities in approximately 2 wetlands and watercourses. Property lies along the north side of Salisbury Road, approximately 740 feet west of Brookside Road, and is identified as map number 1, lot number 105. The zone is R2 and is approximately 1.001 acres.
So Chairman, as you may recall, this application had been vetted at numerous meetings of the EPB, May and July and September and October of this year. A very complex piece of property, very encumbered by wetlands and watercourses, potential issues with septic and drainage, and through the process, the applicant engaged many design professionals to come up with varying alternatives to be very responsive to the considerations of the commission. Upon the completion of testimony at the October 8th meeting, the commission directed me to draft a resolution for consideration, and that's before you. And I'm available to answer questions as part of your discussion.
So the commission membership have a draft of the resolution. Any questions or comments as to the?
Since our last meeting, did anything get changed over on the septic in regards to the brook on the east side?
They've been working with the health department, and they have developed a plan to eliminate the septic in the front and to internally repipe it. And they were doing on the right-hand side, a 1,500 gallon septic tank. And they've submitted information that is far advanced with the health department. I believe they're going to endorse the proposal. They also have to get certain approvals from the state of Connecticut in terms of the work that we discovered that were necessary with the well. They have to gain certain waivers.
Yep.
The engineer has expressed confidence that they would be obtaining those waivers. And all the other items relative to the drainage, they are removing all but one of the discharges that were installed in the brook. They are a sump pump system that was installed and discharging to the brook is being maintained, but was directed to an infiltration system that has been designed and had gained the endorsement of our peer reviewer for the drainage work. They're also doing work in the existing driveway, retrofitting existing catch basins with deep sumps and bell traps. And again, they're tied to mitigating systems with the absence of water.
And I think that's all good stuff, but I cannot endorse a field in a watercourse area. And if the health department thinks that's right, then I think they're wrong. So I'm sorry, I cannot vote for this. And if they want to put that whole septic system in the front yard, I'd be much better with that. But putting it right along where the brook is, it's actually underneath the brook, or the brook's right on top of it. I mean, that's just not the right thing to do. Been that way, but this is the chance to correct that. So I will not agree with this unless we have firm belief that they're not going to have to do that.
So what is the health, where's the health department coming out on this? Because, or, you know, if the health department hasn't taken a stance yet as to where things go, which affect the EPC, you know, and the wetlands and watercourses here.
Well, they haven't gained their final endorsement yet, or a permit to discharge yet, but I can report that the engineer has addressed their concerns.
Mhm.
It will be, as you know, the condition of approval, the final plan has to gain the local and state approvals from the health department. The system that's on the right-hand side is existing, is functional.
But they're making it bigger,
Yeah, they're
Now
putting more
making the
water into
septic-
it.
They're making the septic tank bigger.
the septic tank.
But they're
Yeah.
redirected some of the water that was gonna go to the front yard now into that system. I know it's a bigger storage tank, but it's still going there, so not
There's
only.
a system on the side and there's a system in the back.
Right, but the one that they took out from the front, they are now putting to the east side, not into the one in the back. At least-
But they overflow into each other.
But it doesn't matter, because existing as it is bad. If they're gonna put more in, it's even worse, so, in my perspective.
The last meeting, we discussed the two elements that were in the wetland area, the propane tanks which have been moved and the generator. Was the generator relocated?
Well, it's not a matter of relocating. The EPC had granted a permit, previous permit for the generator and tanks. I had put in a condition here that the existing above-ground tanks, given their location in wetlands and on portions of that septic system, should be relocated to a
But
non,
they have relocated the propane tanks, correct?
no,
Oh,
no,
they have not?
no.
They have not yet because they don't have our permission.
Oh, I thought they did.
It's in the resolution.
It's in the
Oh,
resolution.
I thought the engineer had,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, I thought the engineer.
He had agreed to it.
Yeah.
He had agreed to it, but the resolution makes sure
I'm
that they do
understanding.
it.
I just thought for a second that the propane tanks were actually moved in
No.
advance. Did you condition for the generator as well?
No, I conditioned for what was, well, don't forget, EPC granted a permit for the generator. However, I believe the generator is in the spot that was permitted. And the tanks are actually in the wetland, I don't believe that.
No, I think the generator is dead nuts, full square in the wetland. I mean, what the applicant did is the applicant, is it in the wetland or in the upland review area? The generator. Are the propane tanks 90% in the wetland and the generator is only in the upland review area? This is where there's a disconnect. I will admit on the record, I don't remember personally approving maintaining the propane tanks or the generator in the wetlands. But this,
He'll pull it up now, he has
yeah,
the
no,
file.
I know. But this applicant encroached the upland to add an addition to the back of his house, leaving no reasonable alternative in that general location to move a generator, which would be where we'd be looking in this open space across the desk here. Because now,
They didn't add
because now there's a
addition to the back of
structure.
the house.
They put the addition where.
There's
you
no
could-
addition in the back of the house.
I'm sorry?
There was no addition to the back of the house. The addition was on the second floor.
Okay, so it was just an addition above the existing footprint where that generator is. Well, I mean, I'm still saying, if this is the wetland, these are the propane tanks, and that's the generator. And again, and I use this as an example at the last meeting, is we're talking about having applicants come in to talk about fences they erected in the wetland. A generator is a pure mechanical feature with buried gas and electric in the wetland. My follow-up question, well, I'll let you answer that, but my follow-up question would be is, would I just say, now I would decline the application based on this,
Or condition.
or condition it? But wouldn't, if, just to be prudent, as a commissioner, if you wanted to make sure that the activity was completed, no, you would decline, then you would be declining the application and they'd have to restart the whole process all over again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't
The
think.
generator is also in the wetland, but I can tell you that the EPC authorized its position there.
I understand, I appreciate exactly what you're saying, but could I raise my hand and just say, I made a mistake, I didn't realize that I don't know if I personally approved that.
But you were acting on the part of the commission was making a decision
Okay,
based on the
but could I say,
information they were given at the time.
could you say, hey, I could say, that was a bad call, or I made a mistake and I don't want to approve that? You know,
I
you
believe
gotta
that we
own a
would be in a
if you
dubious
made a
position.
mistake, I'm sorry?
I believe we'd be in a dubious position.
We'd be-
Legally,
we did that.
legally, the guy, because
I don't agree, you'd say, hey,
he could voluntarily move it, or the applicant can voluntarily move it. If the APC decided back when that this was okay, then, and the APC reverses its position today and says, in order for us to approve this, you have to move this. Okay, that opens up every EPC decision ever taken to this
If we
commission.
take the position that there's an ecological impact to having propane tanks and generators and fences and other things in the wetlands, and now we have an application after the fact, we have an application before us on this, we can't correct the decision, we have to, that sounds like,
You're talking about correcting. Is it more prudent? Perhaps, but at the time, the EPC decided, we've had lots of decisions where, long ago, Michael, that EPC decided X, and you sit there and say, man, what were they thinking?
Right.
Okay, what were they thinking? How could they have possibly approved that? They did.
when was?
They did, and so the applicant is under no further obligation to sit there and go, oh, well, now there's a new EPC here, and EPC goes and says, well, wait a minute, we don't like that anymore. And he goes, well, I got your permission. Okay, I got your permission. And so to put it there, okay?
I understand what you're stating, the fact that the commission had previously already approved that.
Mhm.
And my question is what commission and when approved that?
The EPC
Wait.
on June 8, 2011.
Okay. I disagree with that. Whether it's dubious, I'm agnostic to it, I would certainly leave it as a condition for approval. But what happens if you make it a condition for approval and they don't do the work? Because we just talked about 2 prior applicants that had conditions to complete operations and didn't follow through.
No, what they can do is say, we're gonna do all the rest of the work, but on that specific condition, we already have EPC's approval, and if you don't give us our CO because of that specific item, I can go in front of a judge and say, I have EPC approval. They took it, I haven't changed anything, it's right there where it was approved in June 11, 2011, and now all of a sudden they're changing the game. Okay? Now all of a sudden EPC's changing the game. I don't know if that flies.
Well, hold on a second.
I don't know if that flies in front, and that's what Rick's pointing out.
Well, okay, so here's my question. Is the applicant in 2011 is not the same owner today, correct?
No.
They bought it with all those rights in place, correct? So like.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's what I'm getting at is,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
It'd be the same thing if we gave them a variance and a setback, like we can't
No,
just
well,
like
if you came
change our
before, I don't know
mind
the
after.
Yeah.
I don't know the context that the prior homeowner went before.
Oh, if there were
commission.
other
They would have said,
stipulations
hey, I
involved.
need to fix I'm making it up, right? I gotta fix a broken pipe, right? And EPC says, show me a survey, and you see a propane tank and a generator in the backyard, in the wetland, it wouldn't be technically EPC's position to say, you need to go general operations in your backyard to fix something germane in your front yard.
Oh, I
This
get it.
this is an application where the applicant went to the building department to say, hey, we were gonna do some decorating of a house, and they went full bore, and building went in, apparently, and said, hey.
No, there's no exterior building on this one. And so that's the mistake. What happened, this application was caused by somebody running over
A cover.
a cover on a septic tank. That septic tank blew, and that led to a series of events saying that the 500-gallon septic tank was too small, so therefore, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, that they wanted to put in a larger septic tank. That caused, in an upland review area, that caused for them to do that. That caused them, that caused them to apply to EPC in order to do that. When that happened, all of a sudden we go, oh my God, okay? And so we went out and found this and found that, etc. So that's why, it's a curious thing that act of, I don't know who ran over, I don't know who ran over that septic tank. But these people, this was created by that single act, okay? So that's Rick, is that a fair summary of what this is? So what we're reaching now is to sit there and go, well, now that we see the whole house, let's go and say, correct this, correct that, correct that. Well, they haven't made any changes there. Okay, if it was not approved, I could see you say, hey, you put in X and it was not approved.
Totally
like this,
understand
but
there.
this was approved.
Do we agree that that's a conundrum?
What do you mean conundrum?
If this was a fresh application without prior EPC, without a prior EPC.
But that's a different circumstance.
That's
We could say
absolutely.
we wouldn't approve it today.
We would definitely not approve it
Yeah.
today.
Right.
We would definitely not approve it today, and I agree with that. The problem is it's approved. It's like going back to a house that I think you just brought up, it says, oh, you built too close to the, you claimed hardship and built too close to the you can build closer to the property line, okay? And all of a sudden, somebody comes back 10 years later and goes, we made a mistake with that one. You have to cut your house, take a chainsaw, cut your house back to put it back to the property line. You go, but wait a minute, I had your approval.
Well, that's it.
I had your approval.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
so you can't, you sit there going, we may want to do that,
So this
but
falls in-
legally, I don't know
Right,
what
so it falls
justification
in
we
the
have.
category, I guess the answer is it falls in this is where I'm getting at, is having thought through this, is this falls in the category of non-conforming something.
It's grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Yeah, grandfather, yeah.
Look at all the septic fields around that we
I
see,
understand.
that we can't touch, because it's there and like this. You say, if I had my way, I'd tell them all to, okay, to change, et cetera, but I wish, you can't go around and change that.
I got you, but it sounds like, I don't know, Rick, has the engineer or the applicant, because it didn't sound like from the last meeting that the applicant was interested in moving the propane tanks. Has anybody indicated that
Yeah.
they would consider doing that?
I mean, I've talked to the engineer, and they, thinking about it, you asked them to think about an alternative location, and they have.
Yeah, they basically
it
said that they would find another application for the propane tanks. Okay.
Another location?
Another location that was, but the generator, I don't remember what they,
I don't think the generator was mentioned
It
at the
wasn't.
hearing. And again, it's very clear that the generator gained an approval in its exact location.
I mean, if the applicant came and said, oh, we'll move it in order to expedite the application, that's one thing, but they haven't offered that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make an academic exercise out of this. I just don't see how we would in my view, own a mistake of a prior commission. We don't need to keep talking about it.
I'm just telling you,
in my eyes, it's a
prior
mistake.
experience,
Yes.
in prior experience, in another community, that's just a stone's throw away, there was an application that was for a two-family house in a special flood hazard area in kind of the downtown area that was approved previously. The permit expired by limitation. Elements of the commission had changed. It came back a second time, and the commission denied it. Went to court, judge goes, The commission's ruling is the commission's ruling is the commission's ruling. So he was allowed to have the two-family house. Go back and rethink your decision on this. So, I mean, I think there's an element of also fairness in it too, that we have to consider.
Great.
Certainly new things, I mean, there were new pipes.
Well, I get the
all over
house,
place
I
on
totally,
this.
I already knew it when you said house, and I totally get that. We're talking, EPC carries a different weight than zoning to some degree, and for different reasons. It's specifically the ecological benefit, so that's where I'm coming from. But I understand, I have nothing more to add. I don't want to hold up everybody talking about this anymore. I'm satisfied, we're good.
All right. Anybody else want to have anything else on this resolution?
Can I just so the health department has not yet approved the septic on the,
No.
Not that I'm aware of, but I can tell they've made substantial progress in doing so. There's no written document yet. And second of all, the commission has to decide on what they had at last month's meeting.
right.
So, you can put a condition of approval in there saying the final approval of the area health department is warranted in most states.
Is required.
Prior to the,
And that's obviously-
Isn't that a given?
That has to be,
Should
yes,
be,
absolutely. That's not in there?
It is in there.
Okay, it is in the resolution, that the health
Okay.
department must, yeah. Or the health department must approve. All right, can I have, anybody else have anything on this one? All right, may I have a,
So I make a motion to approve EPC 12-2025, 49 Salisbury Road. Should I read
No,
it?
just say,
Okay.
that's it. Can I have a second?
Second motion?
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? 4-1. Okay, moving on, EPC 17-2025, PL 25-93, 53 Birch Road, J. Sagar and V. Sagar, to construct an expanded driveway walls, drainage, and other related features proximate to wetlands and watercourses. The property is located along the west side of Birch Road, approximately 250 feet south of Sylvan Road, and is identified as map number 11, lot number 13, as known as R1. It's approximately 1.44 acres. Rick?
Mr. Chairman, as you noted, the application is to, it's a pretty extensive plan that you have before us.
Mm-hmm.
Only a portion of this development is subject to the review and approval of the EPC. The home is situated in the proximate center of the property. The entire west side of the property is in developed uplands, and that's where the applicant is currently proposing a garage, a pool, and terraces and other related features, including an extensive drainage system. To the east is a stream corridor with adjoining wetlands, and those activities, which I think they call phase 2 essentially, is an expanded driveway parking area and drainage to, again, attenuate impacts with the proposed development. So it's around that, the stream corridor where you find the wetlands. And then those wetlands ranges from some lawn grass to, it's also a wooded wetland edge. So we have a full site development plan, and it's almost kind of hard to differentiate certain parts of it because of the, although it will be phased, and that there'll be no impact from any particular phase, is that there's one drainage plan, essentially a holistic drainage plan, that has been prepared. But let's just try to enter a few things into the record. So site development has been proposed. There's no direct encroachments into the wetlands and watercourses. There's about 7,400 square feet of the upland review area is going to be either temporary or permanently affected by the development. Most of that space is either driveway, lawn, or the wetland edge. Setbacks with the expanded driveway, and again, that's all occurring in the east, is about 41 feet with the drainage structures and 35 with some grading. It's in a low to moderate range on the property, the grade change, 2.5 feet. 4 trees of size will be impacted as a result of the development. The applicant has provided an arborist report in assessing those trees, and those will remain a part of your package. There was a drainage plan that has more recently gained the endorsement of the town's peer reviewer. And again, there's 2 drainage systems essentially. There's this site drains in 2 directions. To the south to the abutting property owner, and generally to the east to the wetlands and watercourses. An increase in impervious that's being proposed would result in an increase in runoff if left unmitigated, but the applicant has moved to mitigate the impacts in a couple different ways. They propose post-construction watersheds and are managing them and using structured drainage. So phase 1, which is to the west, the pools, the wetlands, the pool and the garage, etc. They're going to install drains that consist of slot drains, yard drains, roof drains, under drains, junks and boxes, pipes, and Coltex system. And they did test holes and they had operations plan. In the east, they're doing structured drain consisting of yard drains, pipes, level spreaders, curbing, and again, another Coltex system to infiltrate that stormwater into the ground. As a result of the improvements, the engineer has concluded that for all the storms in both watersheds, that the volume peak rates of runoff will be reduced. Again, that was endorsed by the town's consultant. They've also concluded that there's no adverse impact on drainage in the adjoining properties. For water quality purposes, it's a basic erosion control plan with perimeter controls and protecting inlets, etc. Drainage collection structures. We equip with deep sumps to assist in the collection of sands and silts, although we have to ensure that any future modifications, make sure they have a full 2-foot sump and outlet controls. They utilize an infiltration to mitigate impacts, and there's been a landscaping plan that's been confined to the eastern portions of the property to mitigate for the loss of the trees and to filter some runoff. It involves the addition of 4 trees and some additional shrubs, generally along the edge of the wetland edge. There's also been, they have offered tree protection, fence tree protection for things for trees in the general vicinity of the development. The applicant is here this evening, and they can discuss how they also did an alternatives analysis and believe that what is currently being proposed is the least impactful. And they looked at a couple different scenarios in which to site structures, and because of conflicts with existing things such as utilities or further encroachments, how they were dismissed. So the applicant is here. I'm available to answer questions. Back in June, we wrote a letter based on your comments that outlined what has to be highlighted as part of this review. And again, the applicant can go down those piece by piece if need be, to again evaluate the impacts. for you or outline what the impacts are for you.
Good evening, everyone. Rachel Orsi from SE Minor on behalf of the applicant for 53 Birch Road. I'll go through a couple
Are you
items.
a licensed engineer, arborist? What's your specialty?
I am the Assistant Director of Planning and Environmental, so I represent and prepare the applications. I have licensed and professional engineers as well as arborists on staff, but I myself am not a licensed engineer.
Okay.
We'll go through a lot of items that Rick has already brought up. I would like to start by saying big thank you to Rick and his staff for helping to pull this application and the materials together, as there are a lot of pieces because it is phased out. Now, because it is phased out, work in phase 1 is completely outside of upland review, so I'll focus most of my points here on phase 2. For phase 2, the proposed work is related to an expansion of an existing driveway, which provides for access to a proposed garage, which is outside of the upland review. It provides ultimately better maneuverability for multiple cars in our client's family. This application also provides stormwater drainage that not only meets but also exceeds the town's requirements, and we are proposing the addition of true native species within the upland review area. The existing drive for 53 Birch sits approximately 6 feet away from the watercourse, and access to the residence is provided via a crossing over Tokenique Brook, which is through a corrugated metal pipe. The brook runs underneath the driveway. The area of the proposed driveway expansion is situated substantially further away from the regulated area, and at its closest point it sits, the proposed asphalt sits at about 40 feet away from the watercourse, and there is minimal grading occurring no closer than 35 feet from that watercourse. Additionally, approximately half of the proposed driveway lies completely outside of the upland review area. With the expansion, the stormwater management system is required. As you know, the town of Darien has a very thorough stormwater manual, and it requires at minimum for most projects to reduce stormwater through the 50-year storm. For this project, we're proposing installing underground infiltration known as a Coltec to effectively manage and filter the runoff. And this system not only meets but exceeds the town's requirements, and we achieve this by reducing both volume and peak rates through the 100-year storm, exceeding what the town requires of 50 for this project. We also noted that there was a neighbor had written in, the Plunkett's located at 51 Birch Road to the south. They had submitted comments to the commission in regard to our proposed development. Our client, Saggers, had asked that our engineers take their comments and concerns into consideration as part of the design, and as such, the proposed stormwater system for the patio has been designed so that the runoff is collected and directed to the southwest through a level spreader away from the Plunkett's property, and that's the closest proposed development to their property. So in summary, with both that design and by reducing the peak flows and rates through the 100-year storm, we're designing to improve overall drainage conditions both on our client's property as well as for runoff that currently flows toward the Plunkett's property. With respect to plantings, there are 4 trees proposed to be removed as part of the driveway expansion. These trees were evaluated by a master arborist, John Nestro of Davy Tree. One of the 4 trees, 3 were leaning toward the residence, and of those 3, the maple tree had exhibited signs of decay and was recommended for removal by Mr. Nestro. To mitigate any potential impacts from the removal of these trees, we're proposing a true native planting plan, which the plan replaces proposes a mix of 3 native. The plan replaces the 4 trees, 3 of which are native, 1 of which is non-native, and we're replacing with 4 true native canopy trees, including red maples and pin oaks, along with understory shrubs of downy serviceberry and sweet pepper bush to enhance habitat and ecological value. So in summary, we're requesting approval for the proposed driveway expansion and the associated drainage improvements for 53 Birch. Again, it incorporates stormwater that currently, as proposed, will exceed the town's requirements. It has native plantings to enhance ecological value. And it also addresses the Plunkett's concerns by directing runoff away from their property and improving overall drainage conditions. And with that, we respectfully request the Commission's approval, and thank you for your time and consideration.
Yeah, I got some questions. So I'm only looking on the east side, these two, which is our area anyway. So how much lawn did you reduce since you took 7,000 feet out of our area, in this 50-foot area? So have you reduced lawn on that?
There is some lawn area that was reduced that would have been in between the current driveway. It goes up to the tree line and then it goes down to the wetlands and the brook.
How many square feet would you think that was?
I would have to come back with an answer to
Okay,
you.
based on your plans, it doesn't look adequate to me anyway. And also, you're putting a level spreader into the lawn area, which is not a good idea if we're going to have fertilizers, which always happen on lawns, and then they'll be sheeted across into the wetland area. So we need to think about what you're going to do around that level spreader to prevent that from happening.
The level spreader is proposed for overflow protection,
Yeah.
so the entire driveway area goes to a 30-unit Coltex system
Right.
that'll collect all that, and then the level spreader is just for overflow toward
But
the...
when that occurs, we'd rather not have that sheeting across into the wetland area without being some kind of control on it, some kind of berm, some area. So I would suggest that you pull out some more lawn, take it right up to that level spreader area so that you have something that'll collect some of that sheeting, fertilizer-laden water. That'd be my suggestion. And also some boulder demarcation for that lawn area that's going to be reduced, so we don't have creep later on. And my last one was, the trees you're putting in are quite small. I'd like to see them try to get some plant in there that's not going to be so small, and since you're only putting 4 in, they could certainly turn around and get some bigger ones in there. That's what I've got.
I think, is there a size that you typically see? I know for wetlands projects, in other towns, I know we typically see 2 to 2.5 inch caliper, because they tend to take well to this site as they're young. Is
You
there
have a
another
choice. You could put some more in if you want to use that size, or you could put some larger ones in that obviously work in that area. I don't want, if you put something in there's ledge or whatever, and they're not going to take. So it's just, improve it a little bit. You're taking out some nice trees, that a couple of them are borderline, according to Save the Tree. So let's try to make a better impact on it.
Michael?
I think I'm gonna hold back on my comments and questions and let my fellow commissioner jump in.
Hi, thank you. So the modification that you made with regard to the patio drainage, are the neighbors satisfied with that modification?
We have not had direct communication with the neighbors, but we hope through these proposals and through the endorsement with Joe Canis, and that we're exceeding the town's regulations, that we're proposing a system that's designed to reduce all runoff toward their property.
Okay. The stream, I noticed that there were a lot of, there's debris, downed, vegetation, sort of crowding in the stream. Are there any plans to do any sort of remediation to the stream in terms of cleaning it out and or hand removing some of the invasives that are nearby?
I think if that's something that the commission would request of the client, I think that's something that would, they'd definitely consider as part of the project. I think initially they tend to try to stay away, because I know often we have clients say, I'm not sure what I can do, so I just don't touch it, but if that's
No,
something...
we would encourage that.
Okay.
That'd be,
Yeah.
first and foremost, we think that, down trees and branches and all that sorts of
Yeah.
stuff, we encourage water flow.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we encourage water to flow through. That said, I understand there's a huge gray area there that I'm in it, so I understand it, but I understand that there are many people that do not understand it. In this case, some appropriate landscaper or something like that who understands the rules perhaps better, but that would clearly be a condition, or I'm seeing that you agree with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely, I would definitely share that with the client.
Just to clean it up and take care of the invasives and et cetera.
Okay.
there, so, yes, sorry.
No, thank you. And the site plan refers to intermittent stream, but is this the tokenie, this is the tokenie?
This is the tokening brook. That may have come from the initial surveyor that's typically called out. SD Minor did not prepare the existing conditions survey. We are the engineer on the project. That's typically called out on the survey, but this is the tokening brook, so I don't think it's intermittent.
And my only other comment would be, again, and sort of related to what Bill had said about the overflow going into the brook and the wetlands. You know, I would, at least in the front of the property, encourage them to practice organic land care, just no pesticides, no fertilizers, or get, you know, whatever adheres to the organic land care principles. Just because that is such a sensitive area, and if it is the Tokenique Brook, it carries, so that would be a recommendation, and that's all that I have for right now.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening. The only question that I have is, given the addition of asphalt that's outside of the wetland review area, why is it proposed that there's going to be, I would say, a material amount of kind of new asphalt that will be added inside of that area?
That is to help with the maneuverability of the driveway. If you see the existing conditions, to come around that corner, if you have one car coming in, one parent, you know, drop off pickup, they can't pass each other. So that addition, that corner that's being added is specifically to help, so that way they can pull in and out of the driveway.
I had a similar question.
And that's the only way that can be
It is a lot.
achieved? I just think if you're adding, I mean, you're adding, I understand that, but there's gotta be another way to kind of to make sure maneuverability is satisfied without adding that much asphalt in that area. Or, you know, come up with some pervious parking driving solution. I get you don't want to patchwork, some of it asphalt, some of it, you know, crushed up, what have you, but it just seems like a lot of unneeded asphalt within that wetland area, or sorry, upland review area. That's the only question or comment that I have.
I would say to that, we can have our engineers look to see if there's any other way that turning movements can be made to have cars be able to pass by each other to achieve what our clients are looking for while reducing asphalt, but I'm not sure how much more can come off. Typically, you know, as we get into the upland review, our engineers tend to make things as tight as possible rather than proposing extra, because then that adds more for them to design for drainage anyway. So they try to tighten that up. But
Sure.
that is something we can look into.
Because if it was me, I would drive up here and I would park my car in the new asphalt area that you guys are proposing, where my car would kind of sit in that wetland area. If it was me. Not to say your clients couldn't do that, but if it was me.
I'm sorry, which area?
Trevor.
Sorry, which area?
The area kind of right in front of the front door.
Yeah,
The walkway
yeah.
area?
Yeah, I think you need, you know, if you could ask your engineers to come up with
Kind of that corner
some
pocket, I'll
alternatives.
call it. Yeah.
some alternatives here so that we could, I mean, I think there's a consensus that this is a lot of asphalt. And I wonder if there's not a reasonable, prudent alternative to this, and so let your engineers go back and, you know, see what they can come up with.
And just to be clear, the door I'm talking about is not the front door. I'll call it the second front door right there to the side. Typically, nobody uses their front door, but that second front door, I guarantee you, or at least I would be personally parking right in front of that, which falls right in that wetland area, and be going in and out of that door.
Are you, just so I understand, like if you were to walk out of the house, the garage is on the left?
The garage is right there, if I was to walk out of the house, yes. I'm talking about the,
Where the Coltex live?
correct.
Yes.
But the garage is further back. That's why they extended the asphalt, because the garage is,
Yeah, no, I get where the garage is, but for me, like, you're not just
Yeah.
gonna go park back there and then walk all the way around to go to the door
I think they have a side entrance.
from the garage?
No, on the side of that house, on the side of the house.
yeah.
Yeah, they have a manway door into the garage.
A what door?
That's a manway door.
So
Yeah,
a person could go, they're supposed to look at the garage door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Now,
say,
You have to get Michael speak here.
well, no, you generally would typically hear that, but there's like other different types of doors. I guess the general question was, taken off of Trevor's observation, is why was the garage
Yeah.
not, so when you're looking at the driveway, you have the square in front of the garage doors, and then you have effectively a square over where the Coltex are. So this, where I'm speaking to is the square, the driveway square in front of the two bay garage doors. Why was the garage not in that location, which would have mitigated all of that asphalt? Because the way I'm looking at this is the garage opens up to the pool. So the garage might not actually be, is there other garage? It's more like a party barn garage concept?
I don't think there's any garages currently at the home.
No, is it
Yeah.
important, well, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
that?
It
that
does
it's
have a
dual
door,
du-
access out to the, there's
So,
a,
so there's
patio
maybe,
door.
but there's, so if you're looking at the plan, you can see the cutouts for the two garage doors, and then you could probably see a cutout for a lift and slide French door
Yeah.
or patio, multiple patio doors.
Because there's
But
a
it's a
patio
garage,
there.
it's a garage that you're parking cars into, so my question is, why do you want your garage to overlook your pool? Why is that designed that way? Because if I was designing my backyard, I wouldn't want my
Pool.
garage abutting my pool. So there's
Storage.
gotta be a reason for that, and from a mitigation of asphalt, I would have that pool, or excuse me, that garage located on top of that big square of driveway that we're speaking to.
And that is gonna be crushed.
And would be closer to
Asphalt,
the
no?
house,
Or-
would be
That's
closer
for
to
the
the house
temporary,
as well.
that's for phase one, that's for the temporary condition, just so that way they can park.
Got it, okay.
But I'm sorry, this garage is detached, correct?
Correct.
It is not attached to the home at all.
No.
Yeah, so it has dual function of garage and
Party
access
barn.
to the, you know,
That's
To
what I'm
the-
saying, like,
to
you're
the
not gonna
pool.
park
You're not
in
gonna
there
park
and
right
just
now.
go to the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to understand, is it a garage or is it a party barn or a pool house?
so it is the garage, it has double bays, I think if it was,
No, we understand that. We understand that there's double bays.
yeah.
You know, and we've seen this before, watch my hands. But it does raise, it does raise, say, well, is this a pool house in disguise? That all of a sudden it's gonna, it's a garage, look at the garage doors, but all of a sudden the pool house is going to appear in front of us. Okay, that's,
But but the garage is currently not in the upland review area.
Right.
Yeah, fair.
All I'm saying is, I think because the garage is all the way back there, it's not attached, the actual entrance to the home is kind of right, the entrance I would use. Well, actually, both entrances are in the upland review area. You're gonna end up parking in that big old honking additional asphalt that you're gonna put in front of the
Correct.
house. So that's where the cars are gonna sit, in reality.
Can I show existing conditions briefly, just full
Sure.
full scan? That might help, it is, I would say, somewhat of an awkward driveway currently. So we're really just rounding off this corner to connect to that asphalt, so they can make that turn, because right now it's kind of a choke point. And then this is really not getting extended much more, and then the garage is going on the other side
So
of the house.
that's existing then,
Yes.
This is
first square.
existing, right, so
Yep.
really all that the clients are looking to do is just round off that corner. They're putting all the Coltex in to manage that, and then they're adding a little bit of driveway here for the,
So there's
Garage.
no garage, there is no garage and has not been a garage?
you know,
But I just want to make sure you understand our point, is that is an existing condition, right? And you've made a proposal which actually increases the amount of asphalt. And your explanation to the commission so far is that's the design we have. Well, you're doing all these operations in the back, certainly come up with a prudent feasible alternative to improve the driveway access to the home.
Because you
I think
could
that's-
shave it down and you could still turn around back there in that square that you're gonna have proposed in front of the garage.
Right,
yeah,
the
I
one
think
that
that's
you're
something
rounding
we
now.
can show to the engineers. As of right now, that is the design that they have found to provide the most maneuverability to get into the back while having
Sure.
two cars be able to pass. But I hear the commission's comments on that.
Okay,
So, okay, so now I got just a couple follow-up questions and Trevor's done.
No, I'm done, yeah.
Okay. Were you satisfied with the amount of native species and the type of native species proposed? in
The
project
type is
plan?
good, I mean,
I didn't think the quantity,
it is, yeah, I mean, there are, some of them are trees, some of them are bushes. So
Yep.
there's, yeah,
the other question I had, Caroline.
and they are
was-
small trees, yeah.
was why is there a buffer to the north and not a buffer to the south?
That's where the trees are coming out. So we were proposing to replace trees in a similar area where the existing have come out.
Well, some of them do kind of, do you see how, like here's the water course and, these are providing a buffer there.
Well, no, look, there's not, here's the buffer for the wetland to the north. And there is some existing vegetation to the south, but
Yeah.
not material, so why is it all just to the north and not to the south?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's.
Obviously, coming back to
Yeah, no,
Mr.
that's a
Wright's,
good point, and we do kind of encourage them to put in a buffer, I mean,
we're looking to mitigate the lawn area.
right.
to the south. Okay, just, you with us? Okay, so what we're thinking about is there, can the applicant come up with a better proposal for buffering the southern part? Here, do you want to see
Higher
what?
level spreader?
No.
No,
So,
yeah.
look,
Okay, Carol, maybe.
Yes.
so this is the north, right?
Yep.
And then here's the water course right here, and then here's the south.
Right,
And there isn't a comprehensive planting plan to the south to provide a buffer and reduce the lawn area encroaching into the water course. In order for me to vote an approval on this application, I would, and based on other applications that have come before us, we've asked for a hard demarcation. So no
Yeah.
matter what happens to the vegetation, that we always know where the wetland is. And two, there's a substantial buffer between, especially because there's vehicular traffic passing through and the front yard area, that there's a buffer that mediates the, lawn, it's gonna have a lawn area from the wetland. And then third is generally, we have an overall reduction in lawn area. So that's what you guys are gonna need to think about and present to the commission.
you're right, because the lawn does come right up to the wetlands, I'm surprised I missed that.
Yeah,
That's why I let you lead.
I'm
That's
getting
right.
weak, I'm getting
I don't know, Carolyn.
lax.
So then with the addition, to bring back to the client for consideration, bolder demarcation, more enhanced buffer plan, then would the commission be open to then the current design driveway as proposed?
How big is the first Coltec? Do you have dimensions on those Coltecs?
Underneath the driveway?
Right, because you see, what Coltecs are they?
There's 30 units.
So are they 5 feet long each? Or will they be 42 small? Well, you have the map, so you could scale it. I mean, that looks huge, that looks like.
Yeah, 35 C100 HD Cultec units.
HD 100s?
Yeah, those are the, like 12 inches, I think,
Yeah, they're one of the smallest Coltex.
right?
Um,
Because the ones in the non-regulated area are the big ones. The ones in the regulated area are the smaller ones.
Probably because the
Because it's
water
under
level.
dry, yeah.
You
because
know,
under
the
dry.
perk tester can, you know, that's the water.
So they're 8 feet long,
Mm-hmm.
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's about 40 lengthwise, lengthwise, and about 28 width.
So that's 40 feet, so 40 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 21, so what did I say, 40 feet? So it's 40 feet wide by 21 feet wide. Just to give perspective of how much asphalt is there. Now, the minimum, we have in town of Darien, we have a minimum requirement for driveway width for a car to hammerhead out of a garage. And I believe that's 22 feet. It could even be like 18 feet. So, I'm not the smartest person on the planet here, so if the town says, hey, you're plus or minus 20, and your Coltex are 40 feet wide, that's a big, that's like, you could have a wedding and park a lot of people right there. Park a bus on that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, 40 feet, 20 by 40?
That's under most of the existing driveway.
Well, I got it, but you're gonna be doing regulated activities in the upland review area. So we would ask you to have a thoughtful, prudent alternative to overdeveloping the site, especially with impervious asphalt. So, you know, your representation, which I'm agnostic to, is, hey, we need to get in and out of the property. But if we're just using the Coltex as a rough estimate, I just looked up on the Coltex website, it says that an HD 100 size is 8 feet long by 36 inches wide. So counting what you have on your plan, is that's approximately 20 by 40 feet. And if the town says, generally speaking, you need 20 feet of berth to get in and out of something, where you gotta do a 3-point turn to come out, that's an oversized area of driveway in the upland review area.
To back
So
down,
that's why you
to
come
turn
here,
out
is we
for
bring
2
it to your
cars
attention.
or 2 cars.
So
to pass.
come up with some prudent alternatives, think about it. Or come back to us and say, we thought about it and this is what we want.
I hear you. Thank you. I think between definitely we'll examine alternatives for the driveway. But I think with the addition of demarcation, more plantings, and reducing driveway, I think our client will be, that is ultimately what is proposed here, is the driveway expansion. So effectively, if that driveway weren't being expanded, then I'm not sure what else.
Well,
Would
another
be in the
question is
regulated area.
you added to the driveway though, is the driveway's working now, why does the driveway need to be bigger?
So the
You
cars can
rounded,
pass.
you didn't round it to reduce the size of the driveway.
It is an existing. It works.
You rounded it and increased the size of it.
Because I don't believe 2 cars can fit in the existing
That's what
area.
I'll tell you, the driveway doesn't work up at the top. I've gotten stuck there. In a pickup truck. It did a 27-point turn to get out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, as it currently is.
So an example, I don't know, I get it.
Could be just a bad
A
drive.
prudent and feasible alternative would be put the garage closer to where you need to get in and out, and then it isn't such a conundrum to maneuver around. But I have no further comments.
I think just briefly to that, if the garage were closer, they would still need to pass each other on that corner. Because getting around
Well, wait a
that
minute.
corner,
It's a driveway, it's not a public road, okay? Driveways, I mean, most of us have driveways. Can 2 cars pass on your driveway? Not on mine, okay? And so, you know, I don't know if they expect that much traffic on their driveway, but, you know, it seems to me that,
I mean, for example, because I think this is kind of a bad argument to present to the commission, is I have a new home in town. And my rectangle in front of my 2-bay width garage is less than 20 feet from my abutting neighbor, right? So I have a big square to get in and out of my driveway. And yes, I appreciate the concept that you would like to get one car out of a long driveway with another car coming in. I can see how that would be a problem. You know, one solution might be, which a lot of people in town have used is, and we're here to help, but not to design your project, right? Is you could have one section of your driveway where a car could slip in and the other car could pass by, and you don't need to have a 40 by 40 box, right? Similarly, you could have, which is probably, I don't know, do you know what the width of, you're representing that there's not enough room for 2 cars to get by. Do you know what the width of the driveway is right now?
In that choke point?
Yeah, well, no, at the entrance.
at the entrance.
The throat of the driveway. Is that 17 feet, 8 feet?
It's more than 8 feet, yeah.
Or do you have a scale on it?
I took any pictures of it.
Where it meets the right of way?
Well, let's just say where it's, you know, pretty much centered to the property. I'm looking at your planting plan, right past the water course. So let's just say in between the water course, when you're going over it, what's the width of the driveway there?
10 feet.
It's 10 feet, okay. So you're not gonna get 2 cars to pass one another there. So I'm curious why cars need to pass each other further up the driveway.
I think we would need to clarify with the client, the necessity of this area, and the expansion, and if there are any ways to change the layout or reduce impervious asphalt in this area, we can explore that.
Is there a second story to the garage?
No,
So,
not the, it might be like storage. I don't believe it's a full second story.
It's not
Okay,
finished space.
I'm not positive on that.
so there's no scenario where, because I could totally see, like, if I was trying to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, I would have a garage, and if I was positioning it in front of my pool, I'd have maybe a playroom for the kids, or I'd have exercise equipment or something, and while I'm spinning on my Peloton or my treadmill, I'm looking at my pool, right? Well, this is what us residents in Darien do. But if you're saying it's just open, it's just a 20-foot, 30-foot tall ceiling? It goes right to the ridge?
I don't think it's open all the way. I think there is
A second floor?
a second, I don't know if it's a full story. We'd have to clarify that.
Yeah, okay. So demarcation, more plantings, reduction of lawn, more thoughtful design on the driveway.
Yep. All right, I think we have enough open items. So Rick, we're gonna keep this one open, I think,
Yep,
for,
and I'll write something up to,
for next time?
no, I'll give him a list.
You have it.
Yeah.
He just did it. Okay, so we'll see you next month, hopefully, if not the following month. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
The next item is EPC 22-2025, PL 25-129, 769 Hollow Tree Ridge Road, T. Van Eslander and B. Van Eslander to subdivide an existing 5.400 acre property into 2 parcels of 2.3688 acres, lot 1, and 3.0319 acres, lot 2, and construct a new single-family residence, drive drainage, subsurface sewage disposal system, and other related features in and approximately 2 wetlands and watercourses, property lies along the west side of Hollow Tree Ridge Road, approximately 675 feet south of Sherry Lane, and is identified as map number 3, lot number 59, the zone is R2, and it is approximately 5.4006 acres.
Chairman, this application has been the subject of a public hearing at last month's meeting for the subdivision of the property and subsequent redevelopment of the new parcel. And important items such as resource protection, drainage impacts, and if you recall, there's a very extensive drainage system to overcome the limitations of the site and to accommodate the stormwater runoff that's being developed. Water quality controls, lots of infiltration, but the major focus of the application itself had to do with the mitigation and proposed creating these extensive setbacks to the stream on the property and coming up with an enhancement plan where it included meadow space and plantings and wall demarcation features, etc. Upon the completion of testimony at the October meeting, the commission directed staff to draft a resolution that addressed our concerns and give a very precise outline of the requirements of both the subdivision and the subsequent redevelopment of the parcel. I drafted it, it's before you, and can answer questions.
Okay, you have the draft resolution. Does any commissioner have questions or comments?
I have one. I just would like a clarification on something. I thought the easement, so Lot 1 and Lot 2, the easement that Lot 2 would give to Lot 1 was only for the septic and sewer?
No, for the drainage.
It's for the drainage as well. Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, but there is no for septic and sewer.
Not sewer, I'm sorry, septic and
drainage.
yeah.
No, it's only for drainage.
Drainage, but the fields related to
No, the fields have nothing to do because they're bending the lot line around the fields, the new fields
Okay,
that are now compliant. And they will be doing a new system with Lot 1.
mm-hmm,
And right now there's drainage that emanates from the existing residence
mm-hmm,
that flows down towards the brooks and the ponds, etc. So they've chosen to, they're doing some de minimis changes to drainage on Lot 1, but they have to accommodate it some way. And the best way to accommodate and to attenuate its impacts is that they're taking it, draining it into the systems that's being proposed
Right.
on Lot 2.
okay.
And that will necessitate the formulation of a drainage easement for both the right to drain and for maintenance.
Okay.
So it relates only to the drainage itself, not the
Okay.
septic system.
Okay, all right, I missed that in the public hearing. Okay, thank you, I just wanted to clarify that.
That was a great presentation.
Mm.
Anybody else have anything? No? Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve EPC 22-2025, 769 Hollow Tree Ridge Road.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, moving on, approval of minutes, October 8th, regular meeting. You have 11 pages of minutes. Where were you when I was going to college and I needed a 1,000 word?
He's ChatGPTing them now.
Jeez. My God.
Rick is just talking to them.
There was a lot of talking at the last.
Well, you know.
It take a while to read.
I know, 11 pages.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. So we're getting your money's worth out of you. Anyway, were there any questions or comments on the minutes of October 8th? No? No? May I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from EPC regular meeting on October 8th, 2025.
Second.
No. Second? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, being no other business, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to approve the regular meeting of November 2nd, EPC regular meeting.
It's a motion to adjourn the meeting of
Motion, what did I say?
approval.
I'm tired. Motion to adjourn the meeting from November 2nd, 2025.
November 3rd.
November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Second.
All in favor? Good night, Channel 79.
There's, it's.